Southwestern Family of Companies welcomes you to the Action Catalyst. Each week, our diversely and amazingly accomplished guests share their insights and inspirations to help us ignite our own. So let's invest attention together to breathe, to reflect and refocus, and decisively defeat that voice we call Mr. Mediocrity. Then let's enjoy moving forward to make a positive difference in our world. Welcome to the Action Catalyst podcast. This is Dan Moore, and today we want to present a conversation between Southwestern Consulting's Ron Alford and the founder and president of Southwestern Travel, Terri Rickard. Terry's going to share her thoughts about taking ownership of decisions, building confidence, the power of honesty, and how she, like the rest of the travel industry, needed to get highly creative to work around COVID. It's an engaging and informative conversation. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe now so that you don't miss out on many others like it. We hope that you enjoy.
Welcome, everybody. Today, Terry's going to work with us on really a variety. We're going to dig in on ownership. We're going to work on some confidence. We're going to work on some belief, right?
That's right. That's right.
All the above. Well, guys, the reason we had Terri on, and you're going to love today, the things she's went through in her personal life, some of the challenges, and then the things that she's built as now the president of Southwestern Travel. So Terry's a travel industry leader offering a decade of experience, basically crafting the vision, the strategy, and the action plans to drive growth and generate results and propel operational improvement. So she founded Southwestern Travel Group, which is a full service travel agency in 2016. And then she led through a diversity of challenges, including our global pandemic. When you talk about the stuff that she's kind of taken this company through, she's still hiring and growing this company, which is incredible. Terri is incredibly strong. She has an incredible vision. She does absolutely whatever it takes to make that vision a reality. She is a fearless leader and at the same time has a very kind heart. Woo, that was a long introduction. Terri, welcome.
Wow. Thank you. I always say I'm not going to cry. I'm going to try not to cry today, but I can't make any promises.
Awesome having you on and just the things you've done. And, I'm excited for our listeners to hear you. Well, to walk us through, if you don't mind, maybe a little of your personal story and the whole idea of taking responsibility for everything in your past, your present, and then as you kind of look ahead into your future. So if you don't mind, maybe give us a little bit of the background.
Yeah, absolutely. From the time that I was born, right, I've dealt with struggles with my dad. So he was in prison for the first 5 years of my life. When he was not in prison, he was not a very nice guy. He was an addict. He was an alcoholic. He was abusive, both verbally, to my mom. My sisters and I had never experienced that fully, but we watched it in our home, which was difficult. And what is incredibly personal, though, is that I was named after my dad, right? So this is something that was difficult for me growing up because here I have this person that I didn't necessarily think represented the kind of person I wanted to be. But that's who I was named after. And that's who people associated me with. And they would say, hey, you're just like your dad. You look like your dad. You're acting like your dad right now, Terri, those types of things. And so from, an early age, I was challenged with this label really and trying to overcome, is that the kind of person I want to be known for? The thing that I had to remind myself of, and something I was really grateful for some outside influences from my older sister, we were invited to church and I found my faith and, God really started to speak to me about who he says I am. And so that was something that I took with me and decided, I made a decision to take ownership of who God says I am and let that be the story. My dad went back to prison, unfortunately, when I was 14. I didn't get back out until I was in my early 20s. And thankfully, I was able to recover a relationship with him and he became the kind of dad I wanted him to be over time. And after he found his own faith in God. And so long story short, that would be one of the biggest challenges and the first challenge that helped propel me really.
This is really powerful. And so Terry's going to dive in. There's 4 challenges that we're going to work on in our time today. And so if you can, this first challenge, the ownership, you're already obviously kind of digging in on this and owning your past, but this is our first of 4. So walk us through. I mean, you obviously had some acceptance to happen there, accept who you are. And for you, the spiritual faith that you got that really helped you think differently. How has that played out in your life now?
Yeah. I mean, I've taken that over the course of my time, obviously going from the family I grew up in, I had to make decisions and choices to either live in that world or decide to do something better. And so part of that, or a lot of it, was just making good decisions in school, deciding to work hard and put myself through college. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. So, but just knowing that I could do that, and deciding to really look at the different opportunities in my life and take advantage of them, right? Just choosing to say, hey, there's this opportunity to work with Southwestern. And then once I started working with Southwestern, one of the things I loved so much about working here is that we're a team of partners, right? And we have opportunities to have a positive impact if we choose to solve problems and not walk past problems, right? The whole thing about saying it's not my job, right? I took on a part with the corporate travel piece within the family of companies. It wouldn't necessarily have been part of my job description. It wasn't originally, but I saw the need. I saw that there was a lack of strategy there, and how can we make improvements? And so I dug in and invested the time and the energy to do the research, to analyze the data, to perfect the negotiation processes. And, it just all started to come together. But it was a choice. And that is something that we cultivate in Southwestern Travel Group is, we are all hands on deck. We're back to startup mode. We're starting over, and we want to really look at it, at what we're doing, and see how we can make the most impact and just get the job done, help our clients with their travel and navigating this new world of COVID and restrictions and testing and those types of things. So a lot of times I get the question, what did you guys do in the beginning of the pandemic, right? Like, what was that like? At the beginning, it was very challenging. Of course, we're taking something that we've spent the better part of 18 months planning, and we're literally watching that dissolve. And that was very, very emotional for our team. It was, for me personally, I was in complete, denial. Like, this is going to be over in a few months. It's fine. But it wasn't fine, and it wasn't going to be over in a few months. And I realized, hey, I'm in denial right now. I have to recognize that there's a negative event happening, and I have to accept that this is happening. And then we have to focus as a team, focus on the things that we can control, right? Our activity, our attitude, those types of things. And then we use that really to transform our situation into positive momentum and move forward.
One other question with culture, though, when you talk about creating a culture of ownership, how do you create that culture where we all own, we all take responsibility, we all don't blame, and look around and say, oh, that's not my job, as you referred to?
Well, I think it's just it's starting with curiosity, right? So when someone says it's not my job, what are they really saying? To me, they're saying they don't know what the other person is dealing with, right? It's, I look at that situation and I say, well, how can I make an impact? What's the real problem? And is it really maybe it is my job. Maybe I do need to be involved in that. What can we do to make a positive impact in that situation? What do the facts tell us? What are the facts? Like, let's take the emotion out of it. Let's take, how we feel, and just find out what the facts say. And I think that's part of it. For us, at least, that's how we work with our team is we sit down together, we look at what's going on, where the problems are, and we get into the details of them, and we just take action. We just do the next right thing, and don't allow how big it is to stop you from moving forward. It is that small step forward, and it builds that momentum to the next step, at least again for me and for our team.
You bet. That is brilliant. There's all these time management challenges. And so, Terri, we got to ask, what's the challenge there? And then what are some things you've done to help with your schedule?
Yeah, it is our responsibility, or for me to discipline myself with planning out my day, planning out my week. And I put those important things in first. And then I fill up my schedule with the next set of goals. How many calls do I want to make and connect with clients or prospects, or, how much time do I have to spend with my team, and putting that in to the schedule. And, I would say 5 years ago, I was not doing this at all. I was literally just letting my schedule, my day dictate my schedule versus me dictating what needs to get done. That's something that I've learned, just time blocking. And of course it's not perfect, right? Things come up. I mean, we can't know what fires are going to start in the middle of our week. So things are going to come in and I'm going to have to rearrange. But it is, again, it's choosing to say no to things, or choosing, like, we either are going to say no or yes, right? So we have to decide, is that important? Does it go on my schedule now? Or do I push it off until next week, or put it on the calendar later? I was really bad at first saying yes to everything. Yes, I'll take that next appointment. Yes, I'll talk to that vendor. Yes, I'll do this. And I was filling my schedule with things that were not achieving the vision, the big goal. And I had to take ownership of that.
Terri, we've talked about you, like, how have you broken belief barriers? How have you kind of stretched your thinking and then had the confidence when you do have setbacks? What keeps your confidence consistent?
You know, it is just going to sound like it's so easy, but it really isn't. It is truly telling myself every day those positive affirmations. So you can't see it, but on my wall, there's two, 8x11 sheets, and they're my personal positive affirmations that I stand in front of my desk in the morning and I say who I am and what I want to be, what I'm going to do, those types of things. And, going through a pandemic. So not only did I have a pandemic, but my dad, that I did build that relationship back with, passed away. Right. So he had cancer, he died. So I'm dealing with that. And then the business, right? So then there's that piece. And so the confidence comes from knowing that I really do have the power within me if I choose to do the work, choose to set my schedule, choose to do all the right things. And I say that loosely, but it's just making the choice to do it. And I'm focused on the vision, and it is affirming myself. And I say that because my love language is affirmation, right? And so as a leader, we're not always getting that pat on the back saying, good job, you did it. You made it through a pandemic. There's not really a lot of that going on. So I had to learn to do that for myself. What is the quote? If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. That is so true for me.
Amen. I tried to toe the line on this one. I've told my kids recently that the word can't is worse than the F word. I'm like, what is the worst word in the dictionary? Is that word can't.
One of the quotes I have framed in my office says, great things never come from comfort zones. I know that when I'm uncomfortable, I'm doing good stuff, right? When I'm stepping out of that comfort zone, man, I am really going to the next level. I'm challenging myself to do great things. So I think that that's a big part of success in going forward.
So Terri, for you, I mean, as the president of this company, Southwestern Travel, for you to kind of pivot during the pandemic, for you to have this challenge, give us a couple things. I know you've already alluded to some of them, but are there any additional things you'd say that have helped you kind of set the course and re-energize the team?
Yeah, I think one thing that I'll add, and it is on vision still, but when we talk about vision and when we talk about energizing or getting the team excited, one of the things in travel, when you see everything kind of stop, we challenge ourselves to look at where the opportunities are. One of the analogies that I give to my team is, this past year, I was in a conference, a virtual conference, and the speaker had shared a video. And he said, hey, I want you to watch this video. There's some guys playing basketball. I want you to count how many times they pass the ball. And when you do that, it's a 30-second video. You've probably heard this before, but you count it and you're like, oh, it's 13 times. That's great. Awesome. I got the number right. But then the speaker said, hey, did you see the guy in the monkey suit moonwalking across the gym floor? No, I didn't see that guy because I was counting the people passing the ball. And I think it's such a good analogy for you only see what you're looking for. And so in travel, for us, for my team, we're looking for those opportunities. We're looking for the pent up demand. We know that leisure travel is going to make a comeback faster maybe than some of the other travel. We know that domestic travel will be a big area of focus for us. I said sports travel. Travel is going to be cleaner and safer than ever. So that's something we can lean on and talk about. During the 6 months or 8 months, kind of that core part of the pandemic, we spent a lot of our time talking with our vendors, asking about their COVID-19 plan. How are we going to ensure that our clients are safe and feel confident when they come and visit your property or your venue or your destination? So we're prepared for those questions when our clients call, and we're ready when they're ready to travel. We're here for them. And so I would say that that's one of the areas for us that we get excited about.
With all the distractions, I'm guessing in personal life, obviously the business, how do you still take action? How do you kind of do the things on your schedule, even though there's a bunch of things trying to throw you off course?
Gosh, it is discipline, right? For me, it's just deciding to be disciplined in that area. My husband would probably attest to this or say, I really do try to set the expectation for the week, right? I try to talk to my team or talk to my family and say, here's what I have going on. That to me, right, is really, it's really the discipline. But then the next level to that is the vision, right? It's the vision. It's being thankful for another day, another opportunity to serve. So at 5 a.m., when I don't always feel like getting up, I know that I'm getting up to serve. I'm getting up for another day of impact. And I'm getting up to get to the end goal, the big vision to achieve, an incredible travel company that connects with people across the globe. It's just knowing what that vision is, having that in front of you every day and looking at it and just reminding yourself of it. So that's what it is for me.
Going back to your affirmations that are on your wall, do they ever become stale? Like, do you update those affirmations to help you?
I do. But there are some that are core that I know that I'm going to need to be reminded every day. So reminding myself that I'm a master of my schedule, that I'm going to achieve everything that I set out for myself to do today. I tell myself that, like, no matter what happens, what comes up, I'm going to achieve these 10 things for sure. And I'm going to end the day with that confidence, knowing that I got those 10 things done or whatever they are for that day. But it is that affirmation. I will complete all projects, calls, and paperwork that I set out to complete. I will meet all deadlines, and I am the master of my schedule. That's it.
I'm loving this. I'm wondering, what advice would you give to your younger self at the start of your career?
Man, that's a good question. I would say the advice I would give is to take ownership of your schedule as soon as possible. That is something I procrastinated on and resisted in the beginning. And I told myself it would be too hard. I have too much personal stuff going on. With travel, there's so many problems that come, a delayed flight, someone checking in at the hotel and not having their confirmation. That stuff can't wait. There's certain things that just can't wait. So it just piled on and piled on. And as you build a team and a support system, that certainly makes it easier. But controlling my schedule would probably be one things I would go back and say, I wish I had done earlier, or someone had encouraged me and helped me take accountability for it sooner.
Yeah, I love that, Terri. And not resisting it. Like you said, you resist. It's not that you had never heard of this concept.
I resisted it.
We resisted. Where do you track your schedule? I mean, you just lock it in an outline, and do you get really specific, like pillow to pillow, or how?
Pillow to pillow. And that part was the part that was hard for me, because I'm like, do I really have to schedule in personal time, like time with my kid? Like, that seems weird. Don't we just all spend time with our kids, right? But it's easy to forget about the date night you talked about if you don't put it on the calendar. It's easy to put something else in place of that if it's not on the calendar. So for me personally, I like Outlook calendar. It's on my phone. It's on my computer. It's easy to see. I look at it every day, every morning, every night, and I just follow it. This is what I have to do today.
Love it. Well, before we part, any other little thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I mean, I just challenge you to really look at your schedule and what are you spending your time on, and align that with your vision. What is your vision? What do you have for your business, for your team, and schedule it in and make it a priority. Your family time, your date nights, all of that is so, so important.
Yeah. Way to go on the personal stuff too. I love how, I think a lot of our people that have joined us today are going to love this because of how approachable you are. Like just your real nature. I think sometimes we see these presidents of companies or these top producers or they seem droid-ish. But for you, just the transparency, the realness is infectious, which is awesome. We cannot thank you enough for being with us. We appreciate you.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. To stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast and Twitter at Catalyst_Action. Thanks for listening.